Just tea, thank you.
Oh!
Yeah, he banged his head. That was maybe the first moment. Let's see. Let's get that right here again. That was maybe the first moment where I realized
Just tea, thank you.
this isn't the Gandalf that I know. I was not a huge fan of that right there.
Looks like he's flipping us off there.
Oh, jeez. I mean, look, it was a funny moment, but I'm like, ha ha ha, oh, ha, 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 oh. But so the moment is
what did you not like about it? Or are you just saying, oh, that's different from the books? If so, how? But if you don't like it, tell me how too. Why?
I don't like it because it establishes Gandalf as not being aware. That's a little bit what it felt like. And it made me it was that first pebble from the avalanche of issues that I had with the Fellowship of the Ring being different from the books. It's not horrible. I look back on it, it's a funny moment. It gets a good laugh every time. And it establishes that the Hobbit holes are small. You have to deal with it. It's completely different. And it makes a ton of sense. I have no problems with it being in the film as a film, but as being different from the books, I feel like it's that first small change that's indicative of much larger changes to come. Maybe that's looking backwards at it now too, and how I felt going into the films or watching the films for the first time. But
so this almost feels like negative member berries to you.
Wait, what's a negative member berry? Hold on.
Or memberry.
What?
It's that thing that people do in movies, and when you have sequel upon sequel upon sequel, where they do callback to, and I think I don't remember which is it. It's one of those adult cartoons, like a South Park type of thing, where they're using the callback to an old memory to sell the movie. So it's the remember this moment. So you have this member berry moment, and there's actually member berries in this cartoon that everyone references as a meme, which I didn't prepare beforehand, so I didn't look it up. But member berries are these. So for you to look at negative member berry, like the whole point is your opinion is affected by your memory of a thing, rather than the thing that's standing on its own merits or not.
Right. Look, it's not the worst thing in the world, but we'll get into that. So let's talk about this. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. So is it lore friendly? I will answer this. No, it is not lore friendly in my opinion.
Okay.
Am I correct?
No, to answer this question, I am going to add to what you said, which was it gives us a vision of Gandalf as like this kind of clumsy old man. Not almost as if he hasn't been visiting Bilbo and hobbits for a long time. Like if you're a friend of the hobbits, you know when you enter their home that it's small to you, and so you're going to move appropriately. The fact that he's like knocking things around, knocking the chandelier around and hitting his head it just makes it silly. It makes Gandalf silly for the purposes of comedy. It's just physical comedy, and it's meant to get a laugh. And I understand why they did it cinematically. But Gandalf doesn't have that character. In fact, Gandalf is the character of the prophet character and the wise in the books. It's not that he doesn't make mistakes sometimes, as he did with Sauron, for example, in the books, but he's not klutzy. He's not a comedic character that runs into things because he's an old man or anything like that. So this is an inherent change to Gandalf's character. So I would also say no.
Yeah, and I think you couple this with panicky Gandalf when he comes back. Is it secret? Is it safe? It feels. Together, they create a character that I'm not familiar with from the books.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. All right, which is another change we're going to do in the future. Does the change make for better cinema?
In a way, yes, and in a way, no. So my ultimate answer is no. And the reason it does make for better cinema comedy, so the comedy element is improved, but at the loss of Gandalf's character that we just mentioned. So in balance, is it better or is it worse? I think it's worse.
I'm having a really hard time with this one because as a film, I like the moment. As a person who likes the books, I dislike the moment, right? There was like that was where I went, oh, oh, they oh, is it made for better cinema? Could they have done something else? Could they have made him sit uncomfortably on a small hobbit chair, for instance?
Yes, exactly. Could they make him have turned around in that instance and put his hands on the beam and like gently lower his head under to step in to show you the size proportion,
Right?
And,
Or
and Gandalf's care for the space. Right. Yes.
If they would have said, if he went like this and he went like, oh, like he realized like a memory, like I've done this before, I'm not going to hit my head again. Like something, if he would have stopped himself.
Well, exactly. Like that's exactly right. You could have had that almost moment where then he sort of chuckles to himself and puts his hand out and ducks under the beam.
All right.
Yep, I agree. Yeah. I think it does not make for better cinema because you could have had even a similar effect without ruining Gandalf's character.
Yeah, agreed. All right. So how much do we like the change? How much do I like the change? Well, it's not a 50-50. My is worse than my haha. So I'm going to go, but it is funny. So there's got that. I'm going to go 2.4. I think it's not a great change, but it endears the character to people, even though I hate the way that they've made the character that is now endearing because he's stuck in a little hobbit hole, and that's what I would do if I was in a hobbit hole. And so you get that feeling of like, I know what it's like to be there. And they established that the hobbit holes are small still because a lot of people who saw the movies probably didn't fully understand that yet. It had to really be, drilled into their head. The hobbit holes are small. Hobbits are small. Let's make sure that they realize this.
Mm-hmm.
So 2.4.
Yeah. I'm a little more forgiving than you on it, but I'm about the same. I'm going to go 2.6.
Just on the positive side.
To me, in my headcanon scale, that's not the positive side. 3 is exactly the middle between 1 and 5. So for me, if it's above 3, that 3 is average.
Oh, that's yeah. I guess we're not starting at 0.
Anyway, here we go.
But yes, I agree with that. All right, so that's our changes, or that's our thoughts on that, guys. I bet a lot of people really like this moment. Do you think a lot of people really like this moment? I haven't had discussions with a ton of people to be like, hey, so what do you think of Gandalf's headbanging moment there?
Small change. This is a small change. It's not a big deal, but it doesn't really improve the story from Tolkien's lore, and I feel it's in the same genre, although a lot less egregious than the mountain of skulls inside the Paths of the Dead, for example. I think it's Jackson's comedy chops coming back, where he just like does over the top comedy, physical comedy, and it's a small, very tiny version of that. I understand it's not that over the top, but I think that I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, me neither.